Our French politics editor, Marc Perelman, was listening in to that press conference. Marc, what were the highlights of what Olivier Véran was trying to get across just a few moments ago?
Well, he gave us two bits of news. First of all, that the president himself had submitted the bill to the Constitutional Council today. So he's expecting the council to rule very shortly on whether this very controversial, divisive, polarizing, name it as you want, bill meets the requirements of the Constitution. This sounds like routine, but we've heard the Interior Minister, who was in the driving seat for this bill, the Prime Minister, both publicly expressed doubts about the constitutionality of certain parts of the bill, kind of hinting that maybe the Constitutional Council will help the government out of its political troubles, because what we saw was damage control from Olivier Véran. He was clearly not at ease. He said at some point there are some measures in the bill that we as a government do not like, that I personally do not like. Why is that? Because on its face, the government got a very complicated bill approved overwhelmingly by the Senate, which is controlled by the right, so not a big surprise, but by the National Assembly. Why is it a problem? Because this victory was ensured by the votes of the Conservative Party, small group of some 50 lawmakers, but more controversially, by the 88 MPs of the National Rally. This was done by Marine Le Pen, the leader of the party. Yesterday, suddenly, after weeks of opposing the bill as being too soft, too welcoming to foreigners, refugees, and so on, she said, well, actually, there are some good points, so we'll support this measure. And so suddenly, the government finds itself allied with the National Rally, prompting calls of betrayal from the left. Let's not forget, Emmanuel Macron, after he was re-elected against Marine Le Pen in 2022, saying, well, clearly, my mission, essentially, is to make sure that the far right doesn't come to power, that there's really a division, a very strict wall between us and the National Rally. Well, obviously, what happened yesterday at the National Assembly showed an alliance with the National Front. So you had Olivier Véran saying, no, this is not a text from the National Rally. This is just parliamentary trick. They want us to put us in a very difficult position. They've succeeded in doing so because the government doesn't know how to get out of this. And there are also already some damages. One was very briefly mentioned by Olivier Véran. It's the resignation of the health minister, Aurélien Rousseau. He's not a heavyweight. He has only been there for several months, but he comes from the left. He was chief of staff for many years of the Prime Minister Elisabeth Borne. And so there's one resignation. We know yesterday night there was a meeting of several of the more left-leaning ministers, and they discussed whether to stay or not. We're told that Emmanuel Macron, during the cabinet meeting this morning, clearly warned them against leaving ship. One of them did so. So clearly there are cracks within the majority. Let's not forget that 59 out of 251 MPs either abstained or voted against the text. It's 1/5 of the majority. But even within the government, and that's really a first for Emmanuel Macron. Of course, ministers have resigned or been fired, but now not for a political, philosophical, in the words of the resigning health minister, disagreements. And so clearly, this is really a very, very difficult time for Emmanuel Macron. This is why he has decided on a whim to come and speak to a program on television tonight. It's not a formal address to the nation. He'll participate to a well-known talk show. What will he say? He'll probably try to justify what he did. He'll probably try to talk about something else, the Olympic Games, whatever, to try to divert attention. Maybe he'll come up with a radical solution, snap elections. Very, very risky. He only has a relative majority. It could vanish. He couldn't find himself with a majority in the opposition. Or he could reshuffle his government. The word has been out on the streets for weeks that Elisabeth Borne's position as prime minister is very weak. We're told that Emmanuel Macron obviously is not happy with what just happened in Parliament. We'll have to see what the president will have to say. But clearly, he knows he cannot be reelected. There is this expression that we tend to use, especially in the US, the lame duck president, where clearly he looks and sounds more and more like a lame duck. But there are more than 3 years to go.